Welcome back, student. So today we will start with the new topic, that is the theme 7, changing cultural tradition. Okay, if we talk about the introduction of this chapter, so here, student, we will talk about the urban culture that got developed from 14th to 17th century in the Europe. Okay, now because of this urban culture, the townspeople, they started thinking themselves as more civilized than the rural people, like village people. Okay, so in this time, the towns that got developed were Venice, Florence, and Rome. So we are going to talk about these three towns, the changes that are coming in this town. Okay, so if we basically focus on the center of art and learning. Okay, so these are the towns that became the center of art and learning. The artist and the writer, they were patronized by the rich and aristocratic people, like noble people. Okay, now next thing we will talk about the invention of printing press. Because of the printing press, now the books that are printed, they can be easily available to the different people. Okay, to many people, even across different countries also. Okay, so with this, what is happening, the ideas are spreading at a more great speed. Now next we will talk about the sense of history. Okay, now in the people, there is a this sense of history got developed in Europe. Okay, and the people, they started contrasting their modern world with that of ancient one of Greek and Roman. All right, they started comparing with that means they started giving respect to the ancient culture of Greek and Roman. All right. Now if we talk about the religion earlier, it was dominated by the church, but now the religion came to be seen as something which individual should have for himself. All right, that means for every individual, the religion have a different meaning for everybody. All right, and next, the church was having a belief that earth is the center of the universe, but now this belief was overturned by the scientist, because the scientist, now they came to know that the solar system is something different as said by the church people, because now the sun is in the center, and all the planet, they revolve around the sun. All right, and next we will also talk about the Europe. They were having a belief that the Mediterranean Sea was the center of the whole world. Okay, so they sees Europe as the center of the whole world. But when there was a new knowledge about geography, this also belief was overturned by the geographical knowledge. All right, so if we talk about the sources of this chapter, so obviously, student, we need something source, so that we can say that this is the correct information. All right, so if we talk about the sources, the 14th century European history, okay, it contains the materials like document, printed books, painting, sculptures, building, and textiles. All right, now most of these material, okay, it is preserved in the archives, art galleries, and museum of Europe and America. So because of this, we can easily get the history of this time. All right, now next, the 19th century historian, they use a word Renaissance. All right, so this is very important. Now the Renaissance word, it actually means rebirth. So there was a Swiss scholar, his name was Jacob Burckhardt. Okay, and his time of life was from 1818 to 1897. All right, now this scholar. He was a student of the University of Basel in Switzerland. Okay, and his teacher was the German historian Leopold von Ranke. Now, Ranke, what he taught this uh, Jacob, that the history should be written according to the state and political papers that are available, okay, or government files that are there in the different department. All right. So this means that he says his student Jacob that if you want to write a history, then you have to take the political, the government files, you have to study that, and then you can write the history. But this Jacob, he was a little different. He was having a different idea about the history. So according to him, he sees history as much as concerned with culture as with the politics. That means this person is giving a more importance to the culture as well. All right. So in 1860 he wrote a book that was called as the civilization of the Renaissance in Italy. All right. So now in this book, what he paid attention, now he called his reader that to literature, architecture, and painting. So he gave a new word, that is humanist. Humanist culture, it is developed in the Italian towns. Okay, that is what he wrote about this culture that developed from 14th to 17th century. All right, and along with this, he also told that the new man, okay, he is thinking as an individual. All right, as a man, the individual was capable of making his own decision. Okay, he has a capability of developing his own skills, and he also contrasts this person with the medieval person. Okay, because the earlier the European people, they were mostly thinking it was controlled by the church. Okay, so they were blindly following the church. But this thing, that is from 14th to 17th century, the European people, they are still changing. Okay, and they are challenging the church. All right, so this is there in your sources available. Now next our topic is the revival of Italian cities. Now, if you go back to the history of this Italy, you will see that it was controlled by the European Empire. All right, and there was a the European Empire was divided into two parts: Western Roman Empire and the Eastern Roman Empire. All right. So after the fall of the Western Roman Empire, this it was controlled by the feudal bonds. Okay, feudal system came up because the political unity was disturbed. There was no political unity in Italy, and now there was a feudal system. All right. But what is happening in Italy is, with the expansion of trade, the Byzantine Empire and the Islamic countries, they were having a trade relation with each other. All right, and moreover the Mongols, they are also helping this, because the Mongols king, they have opened the trade with China through a silk route. All right, so now you can see that the silk that is from China and this South Asian countries, it started coming in the this European countries. So here, if we talk about trade, the Western European countries like Italian towns, they played a important role in here. Okay, so now here in this time, you can see the independent city states that are rising and that are becoming powerful, and from these two we have the Florence and Venice. All right, now here in these two city states, there is a republic form of government, and mostly these court they are ruled by the princes. All right. Now the very interesting of this both cities is that mostly the clergy here they are little liberal, right? That means they are understanding the people and they are little bit they are flexible to the new ideas, all right? And moreover you will also find, because these two are the cities that are having a lot of trade, obviously the merchant and the trader, they are very powerful over here, all right? So this is the reason that here the people they are free, and they can create their own skills, own artistic skills, with the help of which these cities grew as a very important center for art and culture. All right. Okay. And moreover, these cities people they started calling as citizen. All right, that means everybody is respected over here. All right, if you wanted to be a part of this city, you have to follow certain laws, rules and regulation, and that are equal for everybody. All right, so this was very important and unique features of these Italian cities. Okay, now in the next topic we will talk about the universities and humanism. Now this is very important topic of this chapter. So in this time, the two important universities that were there, their names are Universities of Padua and University of Bologna. So these two universities, they became an important center of legal activity, legal studies. Now why there is a need of this lawyer and all the legal people? Because the trade is being developed, all right? The towns they are becoming more and more important, and the people they are coming in town and settling over here, so there is a lot of trade, every trade is there. So obviously this merchant and trader, they started feeling the need of the legal people who should know all the law that are there, and according to that they can have a trade and they should not have any difficulty in that. So this is the reason that in these universities the legal subjects are being taught. All right. Okay. Now as the time passed, by the 15th century the term humanist was used for the teachers who was teaching grammar and poetry, history and moral philosophy. All right. So the term humanist or humanities, it is derived from this word, that is humanist. That means the teacher who is teaching grammar, okay, language, then poetry, then history and philosophy as well. All right. So here we have a Roman lawyer and essayist, that is Cicero, okay, a contemporary of Julius Caesar. And now what these teachers they started doing, they started comparing the present day time with that of the old Roman culture. That means they are giving more and more importance to the work that were written during the time of Roman Empire. All right. Okay. Now the next thing is that in these universities, the students they have a full freedom, that if they have their own ideas, if they have their different viewpoint of different subject, they can have discussion with their teachers, and the result of it is that you will get new ideas. That is very good for the development in the learning and in the art. All right. Now as there was a revolutionary ideas in these cities, this universities. Now this also got established in the university at Petrarch. Now this Petrarch University was in the Florence. So this idea was traveled to